Hi, Pumas and parents. I wanted to record this video to give you an idea of what reflective feedback is. Each day we're having reflective feedback, and some days I'm adding feedback to this. Sometimes I'm asking them questions. Sometimes we don't have reflective feedback, but I try to do this at least a couple times a week to get some feedback or a dialogue going back and forth. So I added some samples without names. This is the test PVS reflective feedback example, but I want to show you some of the kinds of feedback that I'm giving to scholars. So this one here is a homework feedback from the 12th, and I use this section right here on the left to kind of get a dialogue going between myself and the scholar because I don't always have time to meet one-on-one with scholars. So I want to make sure that they're understanding my feedback to them. But this particular student finished all of the sections of their homework, and I just said, the goal is to get yeses in all three sections. This means you met all the criteria for the week. And they said, thank you for giving me yes on all of last week. And I do see your feedback. And I thought this one was kind of nice because I just reminded them I didn't actually give it to you. You earned it. Great job. Just a quick reminder that, you're doing what you should be and you're following the criteria and showing them that they're following along as they should be. So that was one example of homework. Another thing I might work with them is asking some kind of reflective question. So on the 14th, I asked scholars what's the most challenging part of distance learning and what's something that surprised them. And so they were asked to respond to it. Each day that I do put on any kind of reflection, I make sure that I write a response section. So they are required to go through on that day and write some kind of response to it. Another type of feedback is something like with this math exit ticket. It looks kind of small on the screen right now, but they can enlarge the size of it if they want to. But I do give them a feedback grade, and then I ask them why they think they got that particular grade, and they have to be reflective about it. And this scholar said, oh, I realized that I forgot the sentence stem. I'll try to remember next time. And I said, you also forgot expanded form. It can't be a 3 unless you have answered all the questions. So then they responded back, oh, okay. So it's just getting them to think about their learning in a different way and think about how they can improve their grade. Another thing I started last week was giving feedback on weekly assignments because that's something I wanted to highlight. I wanted scholars to kind of be reflective about the work that they're completing and what needs to get turned in. So I put a list of all the assignments that they had that week, and then any missing space was for something that they didn't turn in. A lot of scholars are forgetting to hit the turn in button. That's a possible reason why something would be missing, and or they just didn't finish it in time. So I want them to be reflective about what they have finished and what they've accomplished, and also what they still need to work on if there's anything still left over. So I did that just this last week. And then again, this is another example of feedback for homework. This scholar finished all of the criteria. So I was just reminding them, you finished all the criteria. If they didn't finish all the criteria, I had asked them to reflect on what they can do better next time. So this is an idea of some of the feedback that you might actually see in this reflective feedback that kind of goes back and forth between myself and scholars. I think the important part too is kind of the back and forth that we do about responses and making sure that that I am addressing those responses, especially on something like an exit ticket, which gets graded, just so that they're being more reflective on their learning and thinking about their grades as they're going along. So I try to put in samples there. But again, I'm doing this once or twice, maybe a week, if not a little more, if I have some time. But I just wanted to give you an idea. It's a great way to kind of check up on your scholar and some of the things that I've been looking at for them, as well as what I've been talking to them or responding back and forth between each other, and how we're kind of interacting during this feedback time. Hope this was helpful.